All right, CPAC 2025. We are live from Washington, D.C., actually Maryland, at the Gaylord CPAC Live. JD Vance just spoke. And did you hear the whole thing?
I didn't hear the whole thing because I had to step out for an interview with Terrace Todd,
So
which we did. But
he was great.
I saw most of it. I didn't get a standing ovation for the speech you gave in Munich.
Yes, which is worthy of a standing ovation. The biggest thing from that Munich speech was that in Germany, they're arresting people for posting on the internet, for posting memes or anything critical of the government. And they're saying that Donald Trump is the Nazi, is Adolf Hitler. What do you think Hitler was doing? They were silencing speech, and that's what they're doing in Germany. It's actually a bigger crime in Germany now to say the wrong thing than it is to do the wrong thing.
They're following the path of England. You know, in England, people have been getting arrested and put in jail for actually tweeting, for making posts on Facebook, and they've had their homes raided. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And so
it's wrong.
This is why being a free speech advocate is so important for everyone. You know, it irks me to no degree when people say that free speech is a conservative, straight white guy issue. No, it's an everybody issue. It's not partisan, color, it has no gender, it has no sex. When your speech is limited, that means that you are not able to express yourself. Freedom of expression, freedom of speech is not just in the Constitution because it's cute. It's because we as sovereign individuals have that right. It is a given right, it is our natural right. And one thing I do appreciate about this administration is that they are standing up for that.
Absolutely. The other key takeaway from the vice president's speech today was very much in support of men and masculinity, not hiding your masculinity. And that is something that we talk about here on this podcast. That is one of the things about this show. We allow men to be men. We allow women to be women. We allow people to be people. And it goes back to freedom of speech. The First Amendment is the first one because it's the most important. It's not just random. That's the most important one. Because if you don't have the freedom of speech, if you don't have the freedom to speak, then you don't have the freedom to think. It's necessary for freedom of thought.
Freedom of thought, freedom of the ability to share ideas. Because, you know, people like their echo chambers, right? And one of the things that came up in the Terrace Todd interview was that, you know, people get siphoned into these groups, into these categories. But when you are not with other people who have different ideas, you're only going to think one way. You're only going to be in a box and in a chamber that reflects what you think. Now, that doesn't mean you have to agree, but this is why free speech is so important because, you know, hopefully we're always evolving. Hopefully we're not just settled in being who we are.
Right.
Wherever you are in that, the idea is to continually grow as a person, as a human. And if you are not entitled to free speech, if you're not able to hear other people's ideas and thoughts, the growth stops.
Correct.
And you become stunted. And what's the point then of life really after that? Like, just go into a cave somewhere and hang out.
Well, this is certainly not a cave here because this is the energy here is phenomenal. And this is a very USA, all-American, great place and great organization.
There are people wearing flag pants everywhere. I mean, you're a walking flag. Almost.
I know, right? My color palette is the American flag. So is yours.
You know what? Yeah, I was going to say I have blue undies on.
Well,
nobody needs to know that. Y'all didn't need to know that.
Well, maybe we can see that later. So
it's a family show.
It's a comedy show.
This is a family show and comedy, of course, which is why we can laugh like that because they're we don't need HR right now.
So I'm sure hoping Terrence Williams is going to come by and that we can get him on the show too.
That would be lovely. He's
can
hysterical.
You see? They're off camera here. We'll put some pictures in on the replay, so you may want to watch this. There are these Trump such a sequence, totally blinged out.
Sequence.
Yeah, there's a gold one and it says Trump, the golden era, and then there's a Trump Make America Great Again one over there, and for the Moms of America podcast over there.
It's wild. It's shiny. It's wild. It's fun. And can I just say, I didn't know what to expect here. We were talking about this last night because this was a surprise invitation for me.
For us, for all of us.
Well, for all of us, yes. But especially for me because I think I've fallen the camp of I don't like labels. So I don't say that I'm anything really, but I have conservative ideas and views. I have some liberal ideas and views. I more than anything believe in freedom. So but I wasn't sure what to expect from this particular event. And I have run into some of the loveliest people, some of the kindest people, some of the just sweetest, just good-hearted people who care. They care about America, they care about their friends and family, they care about bringing unity to the country. Like I think that so many people mistake folks who are just so pro Trump as being like angry and vitriolic. And I think that's what we see on the media because that's what the media likes to portray because it gets views, right? But there are really amazing, kind, normal people who are just kind of tired of the way things have been going for the last.
Well, I think one of the
4
biggest
years.
reasons why the media has been afraid of Trump is because they've been on the grift. We've seen what Doge has been revealing with all the money that's gone through USAID and has been funneled back into the Democrat Party and into the news media. $8 million to Politico for subscriptions to build them up. Hey, let me ask this. Is it possible, if you guys, I'm not asking you to steal money from the government but if you have some money that you want to pay for some subscriptions for the Lawyer Day and podcast, go ahead. Y'all do that. No, I'm kidding.
You're joking.
Yes. So,
but well, listen, I just wish I was like, a 300-year-old person receiving that Social Security.
Isn't that nice?
I
think vampires are real.
Listen. It
the
happens,
Cullen family.
Right?
They're here. Where are the werewolves when you need them?
Oh my word. Like that is some revelations that made my eyes pop open. And so, but like, I don't understand why you're
people
upset.
Off, does Social Security now all of a sudden become solvent? I mean,
I believe my
and
parents
with all
will
this
be able
money
to
that we're
survive.
saving, they're saying Donald Trump was saying a $5,000 rebate to all Americans from the money that Doge is saving. I don't really look. Don't get me wrong. Like if it's going to everybody, fine. I think it might be a little inflationary. What I'd rather see them do is pay off the debt. Pay off the debt. Dave Ramsey style. Pay off the debt. Like Dave Ramsey is jumping for joy if we pay that debt off.
Well, I hear you. It's not that I disagree, but I think there are a lot of people who could responsibly use that $5,000. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see because, things are tight for folks right now. And that was one of the other things that JD Vance was talking about at the beginning of the conversation of the interview with Mercedes. And the idea is that, they are doing everything in their power, according to him, to deal with inflation, to rectify what has happened within the Biden administration. And I don't think it's all the Biden administration. Like this stuff is cyclical. This stuff happens over years, but at least they're talking about it and they're saying, look, we don't want America being taken advantage of by other countries. And we know that these costs are going to be going to our truck drivers for the gas. And that means the food prices go up and they understand the chain of events. But because they understand it, they're actually doing something to rectify it. And he said it's going to take some time, because nothing does happen overnight. Yep. I mean, except for some of the executive orders, which he joked that they had more executive orders than CNN has viewers.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's funny. He's a funny guy.
That was good.
He's probably not wrong.
And he did talk about the fact, he said on the 6th day, someone was asking him, was like, it's 6 days. What have you done? And how you haven't done anything about the inflation. How, it hasn't affected. It's like, it's been 6 days.
Like that's what
it took 4 years for this to be created. And you want me to solve it in 6 days, and we've done a lot.
Patience, grasshoppers.
Exactly.
Patience. But you know what? I appreciated the fact that he was just very open and upfront. And like, he seems like more of a real person than a lot of the politicians that are out there that have been career politicians, right?
And I hope he follows his wife's advice to be authentic and just be himself and keep doing what he's doing.
He came across that way.
He did.
He came across that way. And I'm somebody who's very sensitive to energy. I'm somebody who's very sensitive to BS because I've been in media. I've, lived in DC for a little bit. I have an intuition that as I say, aside from marriage, my intuition is spot on. I may have a bad picker. I had a bad picker a few, 14 years ago, but I got a good picker on people who are, out there in service, and you can tell who's full of it, and you can tell who is meaning it. Now, obviously we don't see behind the scenes all the time, but he didn't come out like somebody trying to schmooze the crowd. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like he came out as someone that's like, look, I want to make this a better place, a better world. I want to stand up for speech. I want to stand up for the toxic EI that's happened. I want to bring people together. We want to be in a space of correction, not overcorrection, but correction.
Well, there's a lot of correction that needs to happen. And I wouldn't mind if they've overcorrected financially, because I can't believe the amount of fraud and grift. And I mean, you know what? I can't even say that because that's not true. I can believe it. It doesn't surprise me at all. We've seen it for a long time. And they're just funneling money off of that, funneling money off.
And that's why people are upset, right?
Yeah.
Like that's why you see some of the leaders who are like, well, you can't. What was it? Did you show me a meme yesterday that was really funny? About, do you remember it? You showed me a couple, but about like when somebody's doing something they shouldn't be doing, and then they get mad that they.
So it was about Elon Musk. So your store gets robbed. Elon Musk looks at the video cameras and tells you who stole your stuff, and you want to arrest Elon.
That was a pretty great analogy.
The only people that don't want that caught are the people who are benefiting from it.
Because they sent the robbers in, maybe.
Right.
They had something to do with it.
They're in cahoots with them.
Just saying.
How
allegedly,
right?
Yeah,
allegedly. These are all
you are a lawyer.
Matter of opinions.
And these are our opinions.
But, it's a matter of public concern. We're not defaming anyone.
No.
And we're talking about, very well-known politicians, and political speech actually is the highest form of protected speech under the First Amendment. So am I worried about that? I am not.
I wonder if all of the things that are happening right now with Doge, because if people can get out of their echo chambers, if people can get out of this extreme bias they have of just hating Trump, hating this administration, to be like, wait a second, this isn't right. The stuff that's being uncovered, this actually affects me. And I really do. I pray that people are open enough. That doesn't mean you have to love Trump. That doesn't mean you have to, wear a flag. But look at this is reality. Like, take a moment to step outside of yourself and just see something for what it is, right? Just see facts for facts. And I get it. We all have bias. We every single one of us does. But are you going to let that bias not let you see what's actually been happening? And I know it's probably hard. It's a hard truth to see that you've been taken advantage of in any situation, a relationship, a job, the government, people that you entrusted to care for you, and to realize that maybe they didn't have your best interest at heart. But I do think more and more people are waking up to that since 2020. And it's just, it's been, I'm trying to think of the word, but it's been expansive, right? The people who are having the veil lifted, as I call it, and seeing things for what they are, and like, this doesn't sound right, or this doesn't feel right. And it was another thing Tara, Todd, and I were talking about, our intuition and being able to not play the role of victim, but also being brave enough to stand up and say something. Because the vitriol is real when you're kind of going against the grain and going against your family, going against your friends, going against that core group that you have that may want to stay in that space of the wool is over their eyes still. What do you recommend for people who are just kind of waking up now?
Well, it's interesting because one of the members of my immediate family is very much bought into the opposite side of that. I think he spent too much time in universities and bought it hook, line, and sinker. And he's also highly dependent on the government, and thought that Donald Trump was going to come in and take away all of his benefits and reduce things out. And he sent me things that are coming through as rumors and that are just not even true. And for people and the American citizens who the country is supposed to benefit first, and needs to benefit first, because if we're not prosperous, nothing can be prosperous.
Right.
And if America falls, there's nothing left. Where else in the world do you go? Then now we're back to where there are kings and not good ones.
Well, that's
the
what people are
government-
afraid is going to happen with Trump, right? He's going to make himself king. So how do we assuage that fear in people who have, I don't want to say been brainwashed, because I don't mean it like that, but have this bias, right?
Mhm.
That he's coming in to just, rule the world, never leave office, and
that never leaving office is just silly. It's just nonsense. He's not going to do that, and it's not. He's the only president in years that came out less wealthy than when he went in. He's not doing it for any of those reasons. He's not doing it for ego either. He genuinely believes that the American people deserve somebody to stand up for them and not take advantage of this country. All of his actions are designed to try and make America a better place for everybody. I mean, he was the first president that actually did any kind of criminal reform.
Why do you think then? Because, and I'm going to be devil's advocate.
Because of the propaganda by the media, who has been on the take through these backdoor channels like USAID, and that are getting propped up, and with the things that are coming in with the prosecutors backed by George Soros, who, just my opinion, but from my observations, looks like he's trying to do everything possible to undermine the United States.
Why do you think people are speaking so badly about Trump? Like the Bill Barrs and the people that used to work with him.
Well, Bill Barr, I think didn't he have a lawsuit against Trump at one point, or they had some kind of past friction, didn't they? Or
Okay.
I could be wrong about that.
Okay.
But even he is coming on to some things that are sensible.
Okay. It feels like such a game sometimes. I mean, it feels like high school. This really feels like high school. I thought we were over that. I thought we were past that. I thought we were,
it would be nice
adults.
if we were.
Can we be the adults in the room, as my aunt Sandra would say?
It seemed like politics in years earlier was far less vitriolic.
Yeah,
but I could be
without
wrong.
question. No. There's
Much
actually
more
a chart.
civilized.
There's a chart that trying to think of what organization put it out. It could be Starts With Us, that just changed their name, but they have a graph of showing like how politics, like it's literally a graph that shows over the years how it was like blue and red, and there was a lot of mixture, and there was a lot of purple in the middle, and just over the past like decade and a half, people have become truly this separated and bipartisan. You're either on this side or you're on this side, and there's no crossing in between, which I find is interesting, because I think there are more people who are in the middle than they aren't.
Right.
So the voters are there, but the politicians aren't, and that's why I think people are so frustrated that things aren't happening. Yeah. And Paul Conte coined the term League of Reasonable Voters, which is where about 70 to 80% of people are.
Yeah.
You're not on the extreme left, you're not on the extreme right, but you're forced to pick a side.
And the problem is that the extreme left and the extreme right was the ones that everybody focused on.
Yeah, well, they make the most noise.
And well, it's because the extreme left can demonize the extreme right and vice versa, and both sides of the extremes are crazy. I mean, and for too long the media has been piling on that the extreme right is these evils, when it really, here's my observation of the difference, is that the Democrats were saying that they were doing good and doing evil, and the Republicans, they were saying we're evil, trying to do good.
Right.
And I think a lot of the country has shifted and realized, oh, they're not the demons. We don't trust the legacy media anymore. It's one of the reasons why we're here.
Right. Oh, I was having a conversation last night with Adam Shapiro, formerly of Fox News, the Yahoo Finance.
Can he come on?
He's not here.
Okay.
He's not here. He was in New York.
Okay.
And Ken Rosato, who's a former ABC news anchor out of New York City, local, but like, number one market. And the conversation was, do people trust the media, and where is television going?
Yeah.
And even they said there's like, I think $171 billion that would be spent in 2025 on advertising, but it's steadily decreasing for television advertising, and local channels are only going to get about 21 billion of that this year. So, this is why the Lawyer Dana podcast, this is why people kind of doing their own independent thing is taking off, and why we're getting sponsors, because people want to hear real. They want to
Exactly.
hear real, and they want to decide their truth.
That's what you're always going to find with us is we're going to be real with you. We're going to tell you from a normal person's point of view. We're not particularly trying to have any kind of agenda. Our agenda is learn. Our agenda is discuss, talk, explore, find out what this stuff is all about from a perspective of wisdom. I mean, like I'm a half a century, and this year just turned 50. So
happy birthday!
Oh, thank you. It's about the polar opposite of the year, but anyway.
Right, 6 months late.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Gareth. And we're
here for you.
We're here to entertain you. We're here to educate you. We're here to provide you the information and give you stories that you might not hear at other places.
Yeah.
And we're not propped up by other type of media. We're not going to be taking sponsors like that. Now, we do have a sponsor. It is Patriot Mobile. We've been sponsored by them recently.
Nice.
And so here's what I love about Patriot Mobile, and I don't mean to do this as a commercial, but legitimately, you're going to go to AT&T, Verizon, any of these others, and you're not really going to get something that is going to necessarily be supporting your values or having a greater mission. Patriot Mobile does. Those people are actual patriots. We had a really interesting conversation with them. We've got a referral code, Lawyer Dana. So if you sign up at Patriot Mobile, put in our referral code, Lawyer Dana, and that will help actually support the show here. Because we have spent, we're well 6 figures into this show, and we're hoping that. So Joe Rogan started making money in year 5.
Wow.
And we're in like year 2 or 3 now of really actually trying to do this. And haven't made money yet, but we will.
It's coming. It's literally it's coming.
We're basically right on the cusp of that at this point.
Yeah.
We've gotten monetized, and we are in multiple 2 figures of our earnings through YouTube. So like. We're over that $20
to be able
hump.
to come to an event like this, to meet some really interesting people. We just had somebody come by who we'll likely have on the show later, who was pardoned.
Yes.
And there's another gentleman who is in the health field. There are all sorts of people here who are coming
Did you hear about
to
my
have a
interview
voice.
with Tom Haviland this morning?
No.
Oh, it was exceptional. So he has these vials. And there's just like white stuff in it.
Yes.
It's like a white little thing. And I was like, is that someone's veins that you took out?
To.
And that's what I was thinking. I was like, that's a vein, and you got like the little red dot. That's a blood clot. He goes, no, that white thing is what's clotting someone's vein. Wow. And I was just shocked. Wow. It was like something out of Aliens.
And it was something that just started happening in 2021. What a coincidence.
Yeah. So not saying anything. We're obviously not.
I'm just saying it's a coincidence.
But like, we're not idiots. We're looking at what this is. And so, and as a lawyer, cross-examining people, it's a skill that you tend to obtain, and you can kind of tell who's there and who's not. But we give you the information. We leave it to you to make your own opinion about it. That's what this show's about.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, because we got a great next couple of days. We're going to be broadcasting live until tomorrow evening. We're going to be here a lot. We've actually got, so in the other room. So let me explain what's going on here. So we got Moms for America podcast right next to us. The Epic Times is a few booths down. Newsmax is right there. We are in the center of all of this. This is an incredible opportunity for us. Mike Lindell and all of his TV shows, like Mike's right there. I can see Mike. So this is amazing.
You walk by without a pillow.
Yeah. Where's my pillow? So it's right there. And then Fox, I don't know. Does Fox have a?
Yeah, they're on the corner.
They're around the corner. Yeah. So incredible opportunity here. We have been made. Please like and subscribe, because we need your support. Please support the show, because I think out of everybody that's along here, we're the probably the only ones purely coming out of pocket to be here. It's these pockets.
These pockets.
I don't even have my wallet in my pocket. I figure I've come out of pocket too much. I'm not even going to carry cash today.
But that's how dedicated you are. And this is what I appreciate, Dana, about you and the staff and everybody who's a part of this. Summer, Jennifer, Trinity, Leo, Zach. Everybody who's part of this believes in what you're doing, believes in your vision. That's why it's called Worthy Vision, because the idea is to bring information to people so that they can make decisions for themselves. We're not trying to force feed anybody anything. We're trying to entertain you and educate you and give you a place to go to get real deal talk and information that you might not get on a major news network, because there is such bias out there. And not to say that, we don't have our own opinions, because of course we do, but we want you to think for yourself. That is why free speech is so important. That is why freedom of expression is so important. You can hear new ideas and also create your own values, reflect your values. And if they don't, then you're a big enough and you're an adult enough to say, not for me. But if you like what you hear, like and subscribe, y'all. This is just the beginning. Okay.
Absolutely. So thank y'all very much. Keep tuned, turn your alerts on, subscribe, and we're gonna have a really great time here. And we're gonna add some footage to this thing too. We're gonna take you on a little bit of a tour through what all is going on here and show y'all a little bit more behind the scenes. We've got 3 different stations. So in the main room, I'm gonna tell you how the news stuff. I'll show you some of the behind the scenes, because we're kind of like tourists through that. I'm like, we're faking it till we make it, but it seems like we made it at this point. So there's a 3-tier riser with all of the cameras for like ABC, CBS, OAN, Newsmax, Fox. They're all up on these We're on that riser too. We're like right on the second row of it. We're set up. We got cameras in there. We're going to put a lot of that footage out over the next few weeks. We're probably going to be posting about this thing for a month afterwards. And then summer, there's all these rows of like medias, and they're kind of like typing away. Well, summer's on the very front row of that, broadcasting live on X. So on X, I think we have 2 X's.
Yes.
Like
so
sort
there's
of maybe accidentally.
Lawyer Dana.
There's Lawyer Dana, and then there's Real Lawyer Dana.
Okay.
The Real Lawyer Dana is probably going to be the one that I think that's the one connected to my
podcast.
personal phone.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
Lawyer Dana, that's the one for the podcast
Okay.
and the show, and so there'll be a lot of content broadcast through there. In fact, there's Summer.
There's Summer there.
Bathroom break time, I guess. So we're going to show you the behind the scenes too.
Right.
I'm speaking of the behind the scenes. Maybe not that far behind.
Not that far behind.
Not that behind. Wait, all right. We digress.
It's a family show.
Yes.
It's a family show.
Potty humor. So I don't even know where I was.
You were giving the behind the scenes of like how many setups we have for different camera angles.
Summer's, and she's broadcasting live on X. She's actually doing it through my phone, which is on X at Real Dana or Real Lawyer Dana. Real Lawyer Dana on X.
Yes.
So
we're good. We're good. So y'all, we will be back in just a moment. We're gonna have some other interviews coming up. Stay tuned. Again, like and subscribe, and
if you haven't switched over to Patriot Mobile yet, do so. Referral code Lawyer Dana, and we will see you shortly. This is the Lawyer Dana Show.